Hi, and welcome to Backyard Road Trips. I'm Zach.
I'm Jim.
Jim, can you believe we're starting season 6?
I can't believe it. I didn't actually know how you were tracking seasons, and it finally dawned on me a couple years ago. It's the start of the new year.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're very clever. You know, I was going to start it in maybe March 30th or something, or February 31st, one of my favorite days. And then decided just to go for, really a sellout with doing the first of the year.
Could have done July 1st, fiscal New Year.
That's true. Could have. Yeah. With all the money we have raking in here, it's really or tax day also.
Yeah, right. April 15th.
Big ones for us over here. Yeah.
We're recording right now on Zoom.
Yeah, Jim is
an idiot. You can go ahead and say that. Teams, that's one of that's
true. Jim's burned me twice, once literally and once figuratively.
Oh yeah, I'm just bad. I read my texts way too fast, and then I fill in the blanks of what I assume. So Zach sent the text out about our NFA podcast that we record, and he's going to be here in town in March. We picked a date that we could all do it, and then what he said along that lines was very clear as day. By the way, I'm here this weekend too. If you guys, and there's trivia if you guys want to do it. I didn't read that part. I was just skipping through, and I thought he was talking about he's going to be doing trivia in March for the March podcast. So I was like, oh, sure, I'm in.
I could be doing it.
Yeah. So I'm just, yeah, okay. And so we get we're talking about when do you want to do it? Oh, maybe an hour before we go for the trivia, and then we'll do our own podcast. And he drafted up the document for us to, our talking points for our episode, and we filled in our stuff, and it was great. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking wow, he's really preparing for this March episode. And then Saturday comes, and he's texting me, and he's like, well, I guess we'll just meet you there. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I connected the dots. Oh my God. You meant you're here now. You're here for the trivia now, right this weekend, not in March. And so I'm so sorry,
right.
Zach.
We thought he had some kind of accident, or, there's something happened to his family,
just traumatic brain injury.
Bother him. So yeah, that wasn't the first time you burned me since our last podcast, though. The first time was really, I guess, my fault for being an incompetent fantasy football player. But you want to give a little backstory on that one? Literal burning.
Yeah, let's jump into that. Yeah,
the time you branded me.
We have we got 2 fantasy football leagues, and the first one is the old one that you had, the original Log and Lantern, famous Juicies in Norwich, Connecticut, and I love that league because it's you don't see him anymore. There's no IR slot. It's standard scoring, 3 wide receivers, no flex.
No.
That's fantastic. And no bench.
No flex.
Very small bench, right? 4 bench slots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 10-man league or a 12-man.
Yeah, I think it's down to 10 now. I think it used to be 12.
Yeah. My brother Kyle, I think he won it this year, right? Or he did pretty good.
Yeah.
He said
I think so.
He said there's nothing more demoralizing than trying and setting your lineup as best as you can and getting your ass kicked by someone who hasn't set their lineup since week 1.
Thanks, Mark.
Uncle Mark, yeah, he was he was crushing everybody. And he had people on IR, in their lineups, bye weeks. Mm-hmm. He's just dominating. Auto-drafted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyway, in our league, the other one, the one that I run, Taco Corp. Zach, this year was a funny year where we wanted to do a studs league, which is 6 teams, and that way you had nothing but really good players. And Zach started off like a lion. He was crushing everybody. He had a great squad, but he came in last. He really did not turn it around. And the loser punishment for coming in dead last was a hot sauce that I have been brewing since draft day. And then at the end of the year, when the league is over, then I make it into a hot sauce. And the hot sauce this year had ghost peppers, Trinidad scorpion peppers, which I think is probably what got you, and Carolina Reapers. We got a great video. Zach, what did you think?
Well, to preface it, we were also sampling hot sauces of all various levels from 1 to 4 for the majority of the evening. So probably 2 hours worth at that point. So
Yep.
my mouth was already pretty worn
Spicy.
out.
Yeah.
And then at that point, a lot of people were kind of bowing out.
Yep. Zach was hanging in.
Except I was doing okay. His sister was doing well.
Yep.
And Tyler, am I getting the name right?
Pretty close. Chance the rapper.
Oh. Yeah, you know what? I took a chance and I went for Tyler. I went the wrong name. And he was, I mean, remarkable. He should go. He's like the Joey Chestnut of eating fire.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like pretty awesome. And I was doing okay. By the end, again, it was kind of like survival of the fittest, if you will. I thought I could just have a little dab of the sauce. Like, okay, I'll do it. It's going to be crazy hot. Also, kind of ruined it is one of the sauces labeled like a 2 or a 3 was really more like a 4. Or was there a 5?
It was really like a 4. Yes. It was really like
hotter.
A 4 or 5. Yeah.
So, and that was a Reaper one. And that kind of burned a lot of people's mouth out for a while. But anyway, so I get to the final one.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so Jim's wife, Katie's like literally mixing up the batches, like putting these chicken wings with the thing. So it wasn't a crazy amount on there. So I said, okay, that's fair. No, Jim came and smothered my piece of chicken. Like, I mean, like
Absolutely.
literally it was like an avalanche of hot sauce
I
on
slathered
there. And I ate it.
Yep.
It felt like drowning. Like it really did. Like if you've ever been taken under by the waves and like you have a brief couple seconds where you feel like this is pulling you down and you can't breathe, you can't function. That's actually the same kind of feeling I would say with take that full chicken wing. And at first it was okay. Like I was like, okay. And then it just hit and you couldn't do anything about it. Like your mouth was like just pain for about, I would say, good 45 minutes. I mean, I brought a whole thing of almond or oat milk with me. Yep. And that's something, except for on this podcast, I never drink straight. Drink it in coffee, or have it with cereal. But I'm not having it straight. And I went through 2/3 of the the oat milk, the big oat milk that I brought. So that was so definitely wasn't the most pleasant experience. But next time I'll have to try better. I'll have to invite more people. And Danny wants to join the league next year, so I can't wait to see him try that.
Oh, that's right. And it's gonna be a hot one next year. But while you were doing it at first, I was like offended for myself. I was like, oh man, this isn't even getting him. He's just too tough. And you will I think that your heat palette is incredible and people are underestimating you. And when I saw you just handling that at first, and I was just like, damn, I didn't make this hot enough. But when you started, like, you're licking the ice cream, you're like pacing, you're like, it's sweat's pouring down your forehead. And I was like, all right, it got him. It just
I
took
ate
a
so
minute.
much. Oh yeah. It was like, but my mouth, it felt like it was actually burned.
Oh,
and
boy.
then again, that like kind of feeling where you can't really function.
Oh.
So thanks a lot. So Jim, thanks a lot. I'm surprised we even got to a 6th season after the way he's been treating me lately.
I know. Yeah,
Jesus.
Toilet
No.
Didn't. Well, and so here we are. We finally did get around to our Christmas podcast. Sorry,
right?
This is my fault. We're only 25 days late.
Well, 1 month. Yeah, our tree is still up, so it's fine. Speaking of quirky traditions, so the kind of the impetus of this podcast was, one of the, I don't know, fall trips, probably a trip just from Connecticut to Massachusetts, but we were listening to some of the old episodes, and from season 1, there was an episode that we recorded called Quirky Holiday Traditions, and I just thought was super interesting to be like, okay, how many of these do we do still? And also we recorded that one right in the middle of COVID, which made things all wonky. So for that year, so I kind of wanted to touch base and see where we are on those. And also an interesting thing was we recorded it before Teddy, Jim's son, was born. So even though we were talking about the holidays, we recorded it, I think, in September of that year. So we were just getting ready for it because we would bang out, 3 at a time or so. So you kind of seeing your, definitely a different place in life. I had 2 kids at that time instead of 3. Yep. And what they tell you about if it's 2 or if it's 25, it doesn't matter. That's a big fat lie. The third does a lot of, the third's great, but he does a lot of damage as far as the ability to get things done. So that's different. And it was also funny to be like, oh, Zach's got his new book is being released next month and all this stuff like that. I'm like, wow. So that was just thinking of, I feel like nothing's really changed, but in the scheme of things were a bit different. So we want to kind of take back to some of the things we said and touch base about that, see if we've added anything to it. And then on top of that, talk a little bit about how to beat the winter blues.
Yeah.
If that's possible.
Great topic,
So,
Zach. Yeah. No, in your
yeah, so a
first
couple.
episode, when you were
Mhm.
talking about this, you had listed off beer can tree. So you got
Yep.
a tree of beer cans, light
Still
ride.
there.
Okay.
Yep,
All right. What's the light ride?
the light ride was just so annually on Christmas Eve, my parents and my grandmother, since we were very young, would go for a light ride. Norwich used to have this thing about, best houses. It was in the paper, and you'd go see a lot of them. It was fun. So it was like an hour and a half, and you'd be in the car and
Cool.
going by all these cool light displays. One of my things I wanted to mention. So we did a light ride on Christmas Eve this year. We also did one. I was trying to do an article about lobster trap Christmas trees on Backyard Road Trip's website and in the South Shore. So in the area where I live. So there's
Yeah.
one in Plymouth, Cohasset, two in Situate, Hull, so a few like that. So anyways, the one in the town of Marshfield, I had never been to. And I was like, let's make it a trip up there. So Marshfield's not far. It's 20 minutes away from where I live. We get on the highway, and the first one, Tommy, is just screaming, where are we going? So once we were on the highway, he was just was terrible. It was just was screaming the whole time how he hated this idea from getting on the highway to Marshfield. And then as soon as we hit Marshfield, again, not far, Danny's yelling how hungry he was. And then eventually Danny's, 9, so it's just kind of should be,
Oh boy.
he should be able to handle this. Then he had to go to the bathroom. So then I'm like, let's just see the damn tree. This is, it's a couple of traps stacked on top of each other. We get there, and then I'm like, let's go on the side of the road here and just go to the bathroom. So he refused to do it. So it just became a whole ordeal. So this, romantic vision I have of going for these Christmas light rides it didn't quite pan out the way that maybe I would have envisioned it this year.
Okay.
Yep. Another one we still do is the lobster on Christmas Eve. So that's one that we're still doing. We get,
You go
a
to the
bunch of
Nordic
lobsters.
Lodge?
We do. Yeah, we go to the Nordic Lodge, however much it is for 2 hours, and eat everything we can. We just go to Wood Seafood in Plymouth and order a bunch of lobsters for, everybody that's there, and then just kind of have that as our Christmas Eve tradition, which is nice. So it's been a nice, nice way to keep that going. You had a bunch of different things that you did. I'm really curious because you went from 0 to 1 kids during these years.
I did.
Which is a big difference in lifestyle. So you still do the Manchester Road Race?
No, and I should clarify that I played guitar there. I never actually ran it. I don't want anyone thinking I'm healthy like you. Well, yeah, I don't play anymore at all. I didn't play the road race. Haven't done the turkey dip. Eating buffet. Was I just referencing that like I eat in general, like I'm eating at a buffet, or was there a buffet that I was?
No, it seemed like Christmas morning. You went over. I want to say Katie's, your in-laws, and you do like
all right,
do
so
all
that's
that.
something
Like
that kind of changed. They now come to
Okay.
us. And that was more. We did that, I think, more on Thanksgiving too. But so yeah, but we do. It's a little different. Family comes to us on Christmas morning. Fake tree. Yeah, we still do the fake tree. That's probably just the best thing. I still miss. I would love to go back to having real trees. We cut down real trees. We would go out. It would be like a whole day, and I had a lot of fun with that. So, do you have any like kid memories, like things that you used to do as a kid for Christmas that like you've carried over with you to Christmas?
Yeah, a lot of it, I would say. I mean, we used to, when I was younger, we would do the whole cutting down the tree.
Yep.
And then that stopped, and we would go to a place, like in in Connecticut that would have freshly cut trees, but we would just get one of the ones in the stand. But I would say maybe about 10, 15 years ago, we took back up the tradition of going out and cutting when we could. If it was nasty out or something like that, we stopped. We would go to Gears, but then Gears became like such a huge production. Gears in Griswold, super cool place that we switched it up, and you can actually get a timed appointment at Maple Lane Farm in Preston, which is nice because you're not going to be trampled like in the Thanksgiving movie with people, Black Friday shopping. So that's one thing we've continued. And the other thing, another big thing being the light ride, but also we have the same audio tape that I mentioned 5 years ago on here that we still do listen to when we're putting up the tree at my parents' house. So those things have kind of stayed the Connecticut traditions that we kind of left in Connecticut. In Plymouth here, we do the light ride, but most of the things have become semi-traditions in this area since either Jackie and I have been together or since the kids. They're not really from childhood.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool though. You're kind of still making your own traditions, right?
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say so. So Frasier,
I was gonna ask. Yes.
yeah.
Do you
Do
still
you
watch Frasier as your Christmas day?
I try to do a lot of Christmas movies, but I also or episodes, and I was really much better at it when this first episode came out 5 years ago because I had more control over the TV. Where
Uh-huh.
now it's like, especially Danny being as old as he is, he plops down on there, grabs the remote, and he really, let's say persuades the other two to see what he wants to see. Strong arms them maybe.
Uh-huh.
So it'd be like, you want to see, let's see, whatever the Christmas movie might be. I don't know, Elf. You want to see Elf today, don't you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to, so, and then he picks. So it's kind of like if I'm watching Frasier, most likely I'm sneaking sneaking it up and watching it by myself upstairs. So it's not quite the same of everybody. I'm watching this and you have to just watch it along if you want to. So a little less. So which is sad, but
Yeah, the
you
damn
know.
kids. You got to lay
Mhm.
the law down with him. You're the bigger
Uh-huh.
man. You can you can
This
take
is
him. I
true.
think.
Probably sit on him. Yeah, probably sit on him.
What about like do you guys watch Christmas movies like I don't know, Elf or The Christmas
Yeah.
Story? Is that like a part of your
We
tradition?
I mean, we often have them on, but it's not like, "Hey, we need to sit down and doing it at this night, at this time." Like, I know, certain what's the one that you watch every Christmas Eve before midnight mass?
Well, White
That's
Christmas.
something you still
Yeah,
do?
you still try to do it. Katie falls
Okay.
asleep immediately, but that's every day.
Okay.
So, but
Yeah.
I try to do it. She got me into it, and I want to keep it going. So, yeah, I love it. It's a great
Right.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then still midnight mass?
No, it was. I mean, the Protestants don't really call it mass, but we'd have a Christmas Eve candlelight service. But I haven't done that. I wanted to find one this year, and I just couldn't find. Well, I can say I couldn't find one. I could have went to one, but then I was just so tired. So I just, that's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. I went to Christmas Day service, and that was fine. I like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I couldn't find a lot though. I was kind of surprised, but I
Really?
suppose.
Okay, I don't even remember.
What's that?
I don't remember what day Christmas is on this year. I can't
It
remember.
wasn't a Sunday. It might have
Or
been like a
last year.
Wednesday or something. But
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but you'd think it'd be more, so,
yeah,
be a kind of thing.
it's like the biggest Christmas, Christian holiday, that and Easter. You'd think that most people. I mean, the Catholics.
Right.
Did
Where
they
did
all?
you end up going?
Oh, an Episcopal church, and that's where I go.
Oh,
But,
okay. Local?
yeah, in Mansfield. It's on the UConn campus.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Oh, okay. Is that where Tim was married? That one?
no, it's actually right next door to it, though. There's a whole row of. There's like a Catholic church,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Episcopal, and a Congregational, and
Oh.
a Jewish temple and Islamic mosque.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, we would used to go Christmas Eve when I was a kid. We tried to take Danny when he was younger to Christmas Eve mass, but as many, I would say Christmas and Easter Catholics, you go into church and it's insane. Like it's just crazy those days. And it was like we couldn't even get a seat, and we literally couldn't get a seat. So we ended
Wow.
up just trying to stand for one time, and then we've kind of bagged it since we've had little kids. So, but certainly something to
Yeah.
go back to in the future.
Yep. Now, how about gifts? I wanted to kind of touch on this. Like, what has been the biggest hits in the Lamont household with gifts? You giving gifts, you getting gifts. What do the kids like?
I mean, the kids, right? The big thing with with my kids, of course, have been whatever their thing is they want that year. Some Hot Wheels thing. Danny was this Mario Kart race, like a racetrack Mario Kart. So they all kind of, it's like Charlie the diapers. He loves them, so really good. He's used them all up.
Merry Christmas, Charlie.
One thing I've gotten Jackie, yeah, which isn't like a real item, but I got her a hotel room by herself. And
That's
that
pretty
was
good.
something, yeah, I got her last year, which she really enjoyed. And then the idea, so it's not anything that not a physical, you have this at this point. It's, hey, why don't you go find a place? And she went to Sandwich Mass for, which is only about 25 minutes away. The Daniel Webster Inn last year, had a really nice time, had dinner. And then one of her friends met her for a drink afterwards, and she slept until like 10:30.
Oh boy,
So she had yeah.
that's a
Yep.
great gift.
So yeah, it's just, and then I, managing the house for the three of them. So that's one that I think is kind of a nice treat for her. One of the things that we would like to, it's more about time. It's like if we can have my parents or her parents come over and watch the kids while we go out to eat, or we, if we are able to get away, which, we're just really not for Christmas, but at some point, like get away just for a night ourselves. Like those are the kind of big things. But even being here for a couple hours so we can just eat. So anything like that's kind of the probably the best gifts, I would say.
Yeah, just time to remember what your old life used to be like before you were nothing but
Yeah,
a guardian.
exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Now you had the whole the three gifts thing, and
Yeah.
now I'm seeing you talking about a Krampus thing with Teddy. I mean, you got another person added to your mix. So tell us what you guys do, and you're always creative. So I mean, it's much more.
Well, we tried to I think it was probably last year that we I mean, we were broke. I think we gave Katie and I
Hmm.
gave each other like it was like a $30 spending limit to just like get everything for $30. It was I mean, we had fun with it. I
Hmm.
signed up for like a million free
Right.
sample things. But anyway, this year was a bit better of a year, so we weren't paupers about it. But so yeah, we still do the trying to make you something. And Katie hit it out of the park this year. She got me, and I was telling you about this off air.
Right.
She had got me
Hmm.
at this like choose your own adventure day out road trip, like day trip. And so it's like
Hmm.
it starts with like 5 envelopes, and like you open one up like when you're ready to go. And I think that there's like you can pick where you want to go in these hints. And then when you get there, you open up another envelope, and it says how long you should plan on spending there. Here are the things in the area to check out. And like, it is so cool. I cannot wait to do it. It was like maybe one of the best gifts I can remember. Maybe I got others that she wishes that I remembered
That
and I just off, but yeah, really, really
that's
cool.
awesome, though. I mean, so are you? So you don't know where you're going when you go?
No, we're gonna find like it's got to be a non-Teddy day, and we haven't had one of those in I
Okay.
think literally a couple of years. So we haven't. I mean, we didn't even go
Yeah.
on our
Yeah. Of
anniversary.
course.
Yeah, so
Right.
we'll pick a weekend where someone can take him, and we'll do a big day
Hmm.
trip and go wherever she has us in store. I'm super excited.
Hmm.
I got the impression when I asked her that it's maybe not quite a summer thing, but maybe spring would be a better time to do it than the dead of winter
Right.
what we're in now. So yeah, that's
Right. Be
cool.
outside.
And then we also
So
do.
yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, and you have no idea where this is going to take you.
I think the only hint is that it's like within like 1 to 2 hours away. So it's not like we're going up
Okay.
to New Hampshire, which is fine. Because then
Right.
I think the idea is it's more of you're staying sort of local. You're getting out of your
Hmm.
backyard, but you're not going crazy
Yeah.
far away. And then you're driving
Yep.
around in that area to visit different things,
Right.
which I 100% think you should offer as a service. You could totally do this.
Yeah. That'd be right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
we
No,
got to add it
it's a
in with
cool idea. It
your
really
other
is.
trip planning thing. We're gonna plug that again,
Right.
everybody. If you got
Right. Yes.
some road trips that you need planned, Zach is your guy.
Absolutely. Just log on to the website and go to travel planning. What
Yep.
about this Krampus
Yeah, the
with
Krampus thing's
Teddy?
cool. I was kind of joking at work. It's like this is how I think it started. At work,
Hmm.
everyone, like all the students, people, they color in a picture of Santa and they hang it
Hmm.
up in the front office. And like one year, I printed off a picture of Krampus and I colored that in and hung it up.
Hmm.
And then, so when we had Teddy, like starting last year, I had the fun idea of Krampus is going to come after Santa and he's going to steal one of
Hmm.
Teddy's gifts and he's going to kind of
Hmm.
create a scavenger hunt with clues. And as
Hmm.
Teddy solves a clue, he gets a present. So, like, not only does he get
Hmm.
the present back that he was going to get from Santa, he's getting additional presents. And
Right.
they were great. They like I made sure that they were like rhyming clues, and
Mm.
they were also solvable, so he can go with Katie. And she doesn't know what I'm doing, so she's sort of
Okay.
it's presents. It's not totally presents for her, but it's it's
Hmm.
fun things. So like last year, the ultimate present was I think it was a Nintendo Switch with Mario Kart. So it's kind of like a
Oh
family
wow.
present. Yeah.
Wait. Didn't you say your limit was $30?
Yeah, I guess this must have been 2 years ago for
Like, how
that.
did you afford a
Yeah.
Switch? As you stole it from some poor
I
kid.
did steal. Yeah, the kids can't fight me. I could take it pretty much
Right.
any
Yeah.
8-year-old. So this year, he had mentioned that he wanted to get Katie. He wanted to do a pizza class with her. He wanted to make pizza with her.
Mm.
But like, I couldn't
Oh
find
wow.
any of these classes, or like, there's some in New Haven, but they're like $200, and they're not
Hmm.
planning on you bringing a 4-year-old. But I did find one
Right.
in Glastonbury. It's a pizza place. It's for kids, and it was free. So I signed him up. That was like
Mm.
the last thing, and then like some of his gifts along the way was like it was kind of Mario themed. So like his last gift
Hmm.
was like there's a shirt with Mario and Luigi making pizza that he can wear, and then there
Mm.
was like some hot chocolate balls, and then like one of them was I got him a new Switch game. It was like $14 and that he really likes. So
Hmm.
just little things along the way, and him and Katie are kind of going through and trying to solve the does the clues, and then they get extra gifts, and it was a real hit. He loved it. I love it. Everybody loves it. So I don't know how I'm going to keep
That's
this up for the next 14 years, but it was pretty awesome. I
well, more
really
than
like
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
he's gonna be 35 and expecting that
Right.
too.
Now let's.
Wow,
How,
that's so
yeah,
so
thank you.
creative. That's amazing.
And what
Yeah.
about you? The Plainfield Horse Rescue.
Yeah, that's a kind of an interesting place, and the name escapes me now, so I apologize. But if you type in something like Plainfield Horse Rescue, you're bound to find it. So we went to a Halloween event there this year, and just randomly, it was one of these things that we were like, we just got to get the kids out of the house. We found it. It's free with like donation recommended, and they have it's like a whole horse rescue place that is all in this case decorated for Halloween, and they had like a scary side and a not scary side, and it was cool. Like, it was really cool, very, something I'd never heard of before. And then they do a similar thing both in the winter for Christmas,
Oh,
and
cool.
they also do it. Yeah, they also do a fairy one in the springtime, like one day of like a fairy
Wow.
hunt or something, if you will. And yeah, it was just cool. Like, it was very much like anti big commercial Christmas event, or not, sorry, this case Halloween event, but the same deal, because all these Halloween things are, super commercial and a lot of money and this and that. And you get to get up and close towards the horses too, so you get to see those at the end. And yeah, it was just kind of a neat thing that I had never heard of. And the kids really enjoyed it, just kind of walking through the whole thing. And it was a pretty good size. It might have been like, I don't know, half mile long loop, quarter mile.
Well, not
Like,
bad. Doable.
yeah, it wasn't huge. Yeah, it wasn't huge, but it was certainly enough that it would be a large, a good thing for kids. And then again, they had a scary side too, which we didn't do. So that was kind of a cool thing that we found this year. The Cape Codder that I remember talking about 5 years ago used to be this. We liked it kind of similar because it wasn't similar, but it was a free event, and it was a Santa was there, and there were lights and this and that. Well, the Cape Codder got bought out by Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville Resort.
I can't get away from him. Rest in peace,
Your
Jimmy.
former, yeah, your former employer.
That's
So,
right.
so that unfortunately they don't do the lights anymore. So
Oh.
they only do, well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I guess it's just going to
Very
be
good.
you,
Very good.
you can be lit. You can be lit enough just with a couple margaritas. So that happens any day of the year, not just Christmas time. So too bad about that one. We've still been going to heritage museums and Sandwich, and they do a really nice job with it. It's crazy. Like, you literally, when the tickets go on sale, you literally have to like book them that day for when you want them, because they sell out. And again, talking about, it's an awesome spot. It's a heritage museums has a collection of antique cars. They used to have a history museum, kind of a folk art part. They don't have that as much anymore, but they have an old carousel. I think it's a Louvre carousel. They have this like nature, this like hidden hollow with a treehouse and music, like we don't call them xylophones the kids can play. So it's a
Oh,
very interactive
cool.
place. It's neat.
Wow.
That's not open that's only open in the warmer weather. But it's a really cool place. But again, it's crazy, and I think it's all social media where these things just kind of get spread like wildfire, and then people just go nuts about that.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's kind of trying to get those as soon as you can. So
Yeah.
it's cool, but again, it's very neat thing to check out, but you gotta be quick, unfortunately, with it. It does certainly cost. One thing that Jim had me do this year, ruining the dry January idea. So
Yeah, I want you
really,
to tell me about
you
that.
know,
Well, you want to start with Try January?
well, I don't do it. Do you?
No, but I didn't. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I remember we
Oh.
did a couple years ago athletic beers, because I
Oh,
think it might have
yeah.
been Andy telling us that
Yeah.
people do dry January, trying to, I would say probably after the holidays, I try to have a little less consumption, just because you're eating and drinking all of, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like every meal is like this huge, it's like eating that big, large popcorn I did today for lunch. Um, but yeah, so the 12 beers of Christmas, how did you come up with this idea?
I mean, I was thinking of the beers that I want for Christmas, or,
Hmm.
I always ask you for beer recommendations. And then I was like, the 12 days of Christmas, the 12 beers of Christmas. What would you
Hmm.
do? What would your list look like that would reflect the 12 beers of Christmas? Is this beers that are related to the song? Are they beers that you just see as being part of Christmas, that are quintessential Christmas beers, or what, however you could make it? But I knew I had to ask you to create this list.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
tell you the list right here if you want
Okay.
me
Yeah.
to. Well, first I'll give you a little backstory. So first, I thought I would just do all the Christmas beers and Christmas beers that I had. So what it was I first I would do only Christmas beers. Like and we were talking about this, and then we were on one of the NFA podcasts, and I was drinking an old Fezziwig.
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah, stuff like that. But then I tried to take it, kick it up a notch, as Emerald would say. The first one was instead of a partridge in a pear tree, it was a something. What was the actual line? I said, no partridge, but a tree house. So for a tree house beer. Then I did the second one for the turtle doves, was really kind of pushing it, but there was a beer called Crush it was a collaboration with Trillium and another brewery too. I don't remember which other brewery it was. And Crush is the name of the turtle in Finding Nemo. So there we go. Turtle. The three French hens. I found out that a female turkey is also a hen.
Oh, cool. I didn't know
And
that.
so that's hen reference. And then the next one was the Calling Birds. There's a beer, Little Birdie. It's actually a golf reference of Birdie from Vitamin C. Then I
Nice.
went to Big Y, and I started to get a bunch of singles to just try to figure out what can I use for the rest of these. The fifth one was a golden ale instead of golden rings, but it was a coffee golden ale, which was kind of an interesting one from Founders. Then the sixth, we went Goose Island for the geese of laying. Seven, we went for the seven swans of swimming. The Vienna style lager from East Rock actually had swans swimming on the label, which was crazy.
Yeah,
so that was like
incredible.
absolutely crazy. Yeah, that one I was impressed by. Eight, the Maids of Milking was a stout of milking, so a milk stout. So the ninth, so I did nine. The ninth beer was Old Fezziwig. I was just like, I'll just do a Christmas beer, be easier instead of buying more beer at this point. 10th beer, Lords of Leaping. I did a Lord Hobo. Sorry.
Nice.
11th beer was 11 Rowdy Pipers. So we did Rowdy Piper with a plaid can from Rheingeist that actually John Natick brought in. And then the last one I did the St. Bernardus Christmas Ale for the 12th.
So good.
That's kind of a classic Christmas.
Wow, you nailed them.
Yeah, so then we're gonna be doing for 2 weeks in the winter, starting Groundhog Day, trying for 14 winter beers. So Winter Wonderland of beer.
Oh yeah? What does that have to do with Groundhog Day?
I don't know, because one of a friend from work said he loved it, and he was like, "Let's keep it going. I'm gonna bring to you this winter beer from a local brewery near him and Shoveltown," and I said sure. But I was like, you know what? Maybe instead of going right into it, I just picked Groundhog Day kind of as a random day to start.
Awesome. Oh, that was a great list. Great job. Did you get a lot of reads on it? You better have.
I don't know, but they were fun to do anyway. So yeah, so going through, I feel like we should kind of pivot here into winter blues.
Yep.
How do you beat these winter blues if you do?
Yeah, I've this year what I've really found, Zach, is the trick. The trick is to just devoid yourself of all joy at all, okay, and just surround yourself in nothing but responsibility and duty and service, and pretty much you forget
Buddha.
it was like to be happy in the first place, and the blues are gone.
So you are the Buddha. So that's basically it.
I'm working on the belly anyhow. No, I think that this year has been okay. I mean, as we kind of said before, time seems to kind of go by a little faster with the kids.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so I'm not dwelling on the shortness of the days. I think that that's always what bums me out, is that it's dark and cold all the time. So
yeah, exactly.
But I got the bright lights in the house when my electrician was putting them in. He was like, "Boy, the blind will be able to see in here because got so many lights." Yeah.
Did you take offense on that one?
I did not. I just pointed to the glasses and said, I'm already blind, but I think strategizing about how we're going to attack the summer, right?
Right.
Is things like that. So I made a list of hikes that I possibly want to do. Making a lot more hot sauces. I'm getting the garden ready.
Nice, yeah.
I got this big, you can't see it, but it's right to the right of me. I got this big grow tent. And so I got a bunch of peppers, some fancy peppers that I'm going to start growing. So instead of just cayenne or whatever jalapeno, I'm getting some real weird ones. So we'll try that out. But, I think it's those little plantings that are kind of healthy for me. Katie and I were joking that like chores have become our recreation. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like going to the grocery store is the new version of going to the movies, because it's just like, okay, I don't go to the grocery store. She does. But when she can go by herself it's just like it's just her time. You know what I mean? It's just
Right. Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
like away.
Definitely.
Whatever we need to
Mm-hmm.
do to like have a
Yep.
little bit of a
Yep.
break to recharge. And if that means that's what we do is chores, but and I don't
Right.
mind doing chores because, you know, like every homeowner, as you are, it's like
Mm-hmm.
eventually all this stuff that if we can only neglect it for so long before it's gonna make
Right.
its presence known. And so I just like banging it out of the way so I don't have to worry about it later. And you know, it's not gonna come at a good time. So it's my little existential way to own a problem is, you know, I'll handle you on my time, not on your
Right.
time. So and I think that that's helping me get through the winter. Now, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really planned any trips coming up at all. We have possibly Maine for Memorial Day might be the next. I mean, seeing
Wow.
the family down in Pennsylvania in February as the typical we've been doing the last couple of years. So we'll have that one. So the Philly trip, but again, nothing really with the family scheduled. Trying to save a couple bucks. Pretty much having a couple articles that working on. One of them's like kind of an author excursion. So it would be like
Oh, cool.
we've done Henry David Thoreau. So go see, his house, we went to Walden and then go see his grave. So it's kind of like a series of that. I'm also trying to do like a presidential road trip for President's Day. Well, most of these I've done before, so I'm actually going, but I'm writing about them at least. So it'd be like JFK, JFK's birthplace, the library, his, the Hyannis compound, and kind of make a road trip for the website based on those kind of things.
But all kind of
So
within the region.
yeah, definitely. And again, most of that's going to be places I've already gone to and have pictures of already and all that kind of stuff. So
That's a really cool
it's
idea, though. That way, you're kind of
Mhm.
making a theme of something rather than just like, oh, I happen to be at this
Yeah.
memorial. Yeah,
Right,
that's a
right.
good
So just trying
idea.
to do it. Yeah. So, but nothing. We went to the Moby Dick marathon. We went to a couple of years ago. So, which the New
What's that?
Bedford Whaling Museum. New Bedford Whaling Museum has a 25-hour read of Moby Dick straight on
Wow.
one weekend, the first weekend of January. It's a fun event. The Whaling Museum's free that day, and it's really a big, really pretty big event. Went with Andrew a couple of years back, and then
Oh, cool.
we went this year too. So not with Andrew, but just ourselves.
And did you read
So
it?
no, I didn't. I didn't. You have to listen to people. We didn't actually stay too much to listen to the people
About
because my kids
25
wouldn't really.
hours.
Yeah, but just looking at the museum and stuff. So but yeah, it's definitely a time to kind of get things done while you can. I think, and it's tough because for me, kind of like you're saying, the grocery store. For me, just going for a walk is great. I tried today though, and everything was icy, and I almost fell like 4 times, and you
It's
kind of get that.
it's
So
just
it's
stacked
not
against you.
right, not super easy,
Is
but
there? What do
you
you do
know
to get through daily? Is it just like those
See,
little wins or look?
I think what you're saying is like with the kids, it's kind of like every day it's just like work, then you go get them, then you go do this, then you eat, then you go fight about baths, then you fight about putting them to bed, then you wish you had some time after that. They won't go to sleep, and
Oh
then
my God.
it's time for you to go to sleep. You
I
know what I
can't
mean?
believe you
So
have 3 of these problems. I can't believe
yeah.
it, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then you got Charlie, whose natural schedule is like 10:30 at night to 9:30 in the morning, which doesn't work for our schedule. So it's those and trying to find things, in between as well to do. And I guess that's what backyard road trips is all about, right? I mean, trying to find and trying to do that. I think that sometimes when the weather lends itself to a little more of that exploration, it's easier than when it is in the winter. But it's try to do what you can to get out there and stay active in whatever way you can. So whether it's try go to a museum that you might not have been to before. Maybe on a 40-degree day, go for a walk, or even a day that's not icy. So just things like that, and catch up on some movies and things like that too, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah. Are you like, do you spend the winter maybe, I mean, you just sort of talked about it, but like researching
Mhm.
new ideas of places that you want to visit?
I have a long list, and a lot of them are just kind of ideas that just come to me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would say probably a little bit more so the planning than the doing in the
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. Yeah, I would agree with that statement.
Do you have like bucket lists? Like,
Bucket. I mean, I have places I want to go to with the family. I have places I want to go to for the website. I have places that I want to go to, when I go to Connecticut. Places I want to go to in town. Going from a restaurant I want to try to going to another country. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like different levels of lists, if you will. So
hmm
multifaceted
You
lists.
got lots of
So
categories. Okay.
but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of but it's also good to be thinking of those. Even one of the things I was thinking of, getting ready for fantasy baseball, trying to plan
Oh,
that. We're
that's
trying to
right.
do their next podcast. Like, right, well, those are little spring signs. So I saw the beer Nugget Nectar in the store the other day by Troves, which is a great beer. That's always kind of a late January, February to March only release, which kind of gets you that like, okay, we're getting there. We're even planning this Pennsylvania trip. It's like, all right, that's mid-February. That means there's not too much, winter left at that point. So it's those kind of things.
Yeah.
Don't want to wish time away by any means, but it would be,
Oh, yeah, that's a
you
good
know.
point. Yeah, you don't want to wish time away,
Mhm.
but this isn't the most of we can make of our time, and there's
No,
nowhere to go, and there's nothing to do,
no.
and it's it's just
And hardly anything free for the kids too.
oh
Because
yeah,
everything, it's like all the places, the jumpy places and this and that. So I guess what I recommend everybody do is go to the Backyard Road Trips Index. Find yourself some great places to go that are free.
yeah,
So with the
great
fam that are
resource.
not going to cost you $100.
Yeah.
So give or take.
I made I started making a bucket list of things to do with
Yeah.
Teddy. I got to find a better
Hmm.
way, better descriptor than bucket list for kids. But
Yeah.
but but like one of them, like I thought was a cool idea. Like we have in the field behind our house. If you go down about not even a mile,
Hmm.
there's the train tracks. It's like okay,
Oh
well
yeah, yeah,
I
right.
want to this
Hmm.
summer. Me and Teddy take a hike down and go watch the train go by the train tracks.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of like a literal backyard road trip, but it's
Right.
something
Yeah.
we haven't done before. It's something I think he'd get a real kick out of, and so I
Hmm.
think trying to find things that he will enjoy that I will also enjoy
Right.
is going to be helpful. That's my new strategy of it
Yeah.
can't just be take time for me to do what I want to do, but like
Hmm.
let's find a way to sort of bond over things. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Bring him along, and that's been a huge thing.
Oh yeah.
Danny's hitting the age where he's been a little bit more selective of things that he finds interesting, which
Mhm.
will just increase with teenagehood. But there's a few other kids I have in the wings that might still be able to do stuff with me for a couple of years. So hence why I
Yeah.
have three to have more friends to
Like
force
Michael
people what
Scott.
to do. Yeah, so it's but it's again it's making the most of every season I think is important. So and as much as we can. So because then it'll be hot as hell and humid and we'll be like, oh man,
I
wouldn't a
know.
nice cool sound good. So
It would be
it's
nice if like the seasons were spread out weekly.
yeah,
It's like,
right. I'll
okay,
take a little
it's
bit.
100 today, but
Hmm.
tomorrow it's gonna be freezing and
Right. Right, exactly. Give it a few years. So all right. Yeah, this is great.
All right. Well, thanks,
We
Zach.
thank you for Backyard Road Trips. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jim.
We can find us on backyardroadtrips.com.